Okay, everybody, let's get to it right away on a Thursday. Take just a dive right into NASDAQ and Q futures. We're right exactly at a hop level. An important target we've talked about. I posted this pattern this morning in the Discord. 15,262, big number, and we just hit it. So it's the low end of the zone of that ABCD. Also, we know that we've been in this pause going back for the last couple of weeks now, but really covered that in the last few sessions, and we're now hitting some of those type 2 targets. So let's take a look at that. We'll get into some of the big tech and how far is it going to go. Shout out to the chat. What's going on? Neil, David, John, Harveen, Carthago, One Wheeler, everyone else. We're here on Tuesday, Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, and today I want to, like I said, just go through big tech, and I don't even, probably won't even touch crypto for more than a few minutes because is anything happening there? Not much. A lot of kind of type 1 pullbacks, though, and that's in line with what we've been saying for the last few weeks. A lot of these things that hit overbought back in July, very end of July, now giving you those reactions. There's NASDAQ futures. But the QQQ is a better chart. Wait, hold on. All right, that's good. Thanks. And let's look at that. Let's look at that. Ever since triggering up there off of this pretty fine crab pattern, and I still say that in the longer term, even though that didn't hit the 886 at 393, it's enough where you've got the crab, the 1618, that it just a reaction can cap it for now. I think it's going to go something like this, come down, test the low range of the zone where target 1, that's your maximum. It's going to take some time, and then you go back up. Probably going to be repeating myself for a while on that scenario over the next, easily 30 days. A couple of other interesting kind of bigger patterns. Clearly, Apple already making its way. 368. Not 368. What was it? 168. Let me go to the other platform. Start getting off that C signal. Most of what we've been doing has been on. There we go. It all links up. I mean, that's the TradingView platform on eSignal. You might get a few different patterns, but here's the levels. That's the chart. Apple on the daily. 169.94. And so nothing changes there. Almost, yeah, you're halfway there. Just understand that's all part of the pause. I mean, this pause situation, retracement, just because I'm saying pause doesn't mean it doesn't go down. It's just retracing, pausing what's been dominating for the last 10 months. And structurally, treat that as an automatic process that has to unfold. That's where we are. Really, having reached that 1618 and extended a little bit past it, Once he got past that, could not follow through, and then did the rollover. I mean, it was really wasn't wasn't really clear until last week. Go to Microsoft too, because much the same deal. That is the same crab pattern with target one at 308. I think that's probably likely to get hit sooner than Apple. But you're making progress, 308.20. And so ever since last week, 10 days ago with that inflection rollover, you went into the full type 1 reaction. Within an uptrend, I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's, you're correcting the last 10 months, which has been a historic move, no doubt. Let's do that top 5 really quick. I mean, we already covered Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia rolling over. Can it? Why not get to the the 1618 to 495? Got really close, all because of this 4-hour pattern. Or was this an hourly? There's a crab up there at 380. Sorry, 480. I think we just wait for further development. We need to see some really clear patterns on this. One of the things we talked about in the options seminar that we had on Friday that, want to thank everybody that showed up. We talked a lot about linking up 4-hour hourly with 5-minute time frames, and this would be the same thing. I mean, Nvidia's been printing these bearish patterns for the last few weeks. 5-minute type 2 right here at 455. Your hourly, just take a look. What's the last hourly signal, at least HSI, yellow dot? It's bearish, overbought. So you got to wait on a lot of these. A few others. Meta hanging up there above 300. Nothing. Let me go to the extended hours. Nothing yet. I mean, really, that's after the follow through with earnings and with the rest of this market. I would wait for a further pullback within this uptrend before I would identify another continuation signal. Same with the Qs, same with all of them. I mean, we have to hit some structural levels as well. I think Microsoft still leading the way, and surprisingly, Apple has given up 10%. But check out Apple on a 4-hour here. So maybe we're close to something in the short term, at least in the last few days. We have an HSI oversold signal. All of that's around 178. But maybe just a temporary 1618 flush, if you will. I think they could go as low as 174. That's a 4-hour chart. And remember, okay, the daily time frame, our target one is 169.94. So still lower. I mean, still enough things lower that give it a few more weeks, give this whole process 30 days, 30 bars. One way to think about this. All right, it really just started the decline about 5 sessions ago. Let's do something like that. Create that zone into September, second week of September, something like that. Let that whole thing play out. So I don't disagree. Your opportunity for more downside definitely with the Qs. I just think you're not going to flush all in at once. You're going to have kind of a continued 1-2% down, 0.5% check back, bouncing between 5-minute and hourly signals. Like, there you go. So your last hourly HSI signals have been really clear that even going into yesterday, yesterday was just a minor reaction at the end of the day, triggered an overbought HSI. There's another oversold. And again, we know about the 4-hour and daily patterns that we've been highlighting for the last 10 days in particular. So Q's threatening 370. That's not really the number. I think it's 367, 369. It's somewhere in that area. I mean, Apple and Microsoft rolling over like they are. Okay, it's pretty impressive. 365 down to 325. That's a great move. But it's probably more about go here to the daily and just generate some kind of oversold. And it's not there yet. 308.20. And we can see it. Look at HSI and look at amplified RSI. Both of those, they have not generated anything dramatic, in my opinion. Even I think HSI is the clearest. Like if you were looking for an opportunity in Microsoft, it's not there yet. Not until I think minimum 308.20. Let's keep an eye on those. The few of the others, big tech that we've talked about, Amazon. Last time we really highlighted one, as high as 146, 140. On the weekly chart, there were a couple of levels here where, there you go, 147.69, which was a target too. There's a lot of things up here, and it's holding around 140. I just keep an eye on it. I think if this stalls, in this area, I wouldn't be surprised. And even within the longer term trend, this is the arrow I drew last time where could get a little pullback, and that's one of the stronger ones. A little pullback against that trend line before it moves. Kind of sets up for a seasonal September. So I'm trying not to dismiss it. I'm not trying to be dismissive. Here's Apple, like I said, on the 4-hour chart. Okay, that's a nice little swing opportunity, but give me a dot. Give me a 3-bar breakout. So, and I would think of it this way as well, that even if you got a type 1 reaction here off of Apple, still against the daily, it would be like this, type 1, and then down for the final test. Complete the target one to, it's really, let's call it 170. That's fine. And that takes you into September. It's August, So clearly they really started digesting all of the gains in July, taking profits, now come back, hit the logical levels. I mean, we don't need to force it with a lot of these that are showing you major patterns that, all right, let's wait for those structural levels to get hit. Netflix on the daily. I kind of like this because you are still in the zone up here. I just don't have any confirmation. 387.70, that's a type 1 move. I think that's an eventual reaction low. Question is, where's my trigger here? We're right there. We're back. I said this on Tuesday. Any retest of 437 is probably a good spot if we can get some kind of confirmation. What do we have? Nothing really. Not yet. 4-hour chart. Remember 437's that number, that daily number. Nothing really. I think it's a good example of where, hey, you got a lot of things setting up. It's just you need some clear confirmation to get that going for the larger type 1 to complete, because we know these things take time. This reaction on the deep crab up here did an ideal reaction, but then you generated an oversold pretty quickly and consolidation back. But that's you're really capped right now. And even within the strongest of uptrends, I would still say the best thing for that to do is go to 387, hit target 1, give me an oversold, and then go. So that's where we are. Today's August 8th. Got a few weeks. No doubt this will bounce around, but long term, before going into the typical September-October time period, that would actually be a really favorable pullback, retracement to set up something possibly larger. No doubt. A couple of the other things to take a look at really quick. I want to look at the SPY. Because SPY has a couple of levels at 450 generally, and yesterday we generated an HSI, a high level daily HSI. Today you're checking back. Okay. Does that mean this thing is going to go up? Is that a continuation of the long-term uptrend? No, but let's see in another day or two. I think if these other patterns are going to do a type 1, Apple, Microsoft in particular are going to do a type 1, just be aware that the target 1 pullback for this is around 420, 415 level. All depends on what happens after today with this check back. I'm looking for things. I'm looking for individual, a lot of these crazy runners that have pulled back 20 or 30% already. It's kind of what we wanted all along. I'll look at a couple of those in a minute, but it's not a heck of a lot of things are developing just yet. SPY, I'm just popping up a 4-hour hourly, not really. So, still respecting that daily. What's that? Someone's asking, not considering deep breaches, 50 or 618. Why am I not looking at something deeper potentially on these? Like, why wouldn't I look for the QQQ to do a 50% correction? Because the type of pattern we have here and the minimum assumption every time is a 382. That's what defines a harmonic move, period. But that's our minimum reaction. The other thing about a 382, and it's a fair question. It's actually a good question because it's so relevant with a lot of these setups, is that they did that big 1618 move from last year. They hit the 1618. It took a little while to react, but rolled over. And it's like a natural reaction. The part of the pause mechanism that happens after patterns complete, they could go higher, they can go against the projected zone a little while, but they do give you some kind of inflection. And then once that develops, the whole retracement mechanism of going to a minimum 382 unfolds almost mechanically. You're either looking for a 382 or some kind of oversold short-term indicator reading. Like, if HSI, this only went to 350 or 355 instead of 335 and then generated an oversold reading. I would respect that, kind of like what I was talking about on the SPY. But we treat that as a minimum. That's the way to think about it. Also, even if you just use standard RSI, that's amplified RSI. These things are pointed in a pretty clear direction. I think I mentioned that last week. And a lot of them being complex structures. Probably didn't discuss that enough last week. But the fact that a lot of the RSI formations on the daily or weekly charts, okay, these are M formations where once they pop out of the zone, it becomes kind of an automatic corrective move, at least to the 50 level, and that's what you got. I mean, the weekly chart's even cleaner across the board. So let's see how that goes. I really think that's that's in a good spot to really be able to gauge how far we can get that sooner or later. But until that hits, treat that. Hold on 1 second. I can't believe this. Sorry. Okay. Treat that as where we've kind of switched over, and it's going from that long move from January. Now we went into a full type 1 reaction. Confirmation was just last Friday. Just got a yellow dot on the Qs last Friday. Interesting thing to note before I get out of here with this is that the diamonds, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that was up 400 yesterday. Okay, and I think this thing is acting unusually. This whole move, we talked about that last time, of the Dow doing 14 days up or something crazy, or just the fact that's painting so much green is telling you a great deal. So now we have the first pullback really since that preceded that move, and that's at 351. So a few of these, you look at Apple with a bullish crab, you look at the diamonds with a daily HSI, ditto on S&P. All right, is this a short-term pullback? Are we going to hit some short-term support? Let's see, really close. Maybe we bounce here and then roll over later, but I've been saying this the last couple of weeks. It just favor any long positions should be reactions as we get through this pause. Diamonds right now, okay, I'll look at this, but you still need 2 more bullish green days to change the course of the prior bearish dot. Bearish dot quickly to bullish oversold, so give me a couple of green candles to get that going. Really, the diamonds could become the story, quite frankly, that with that whole move from June to July, if they break out and follow through and do another leg, that's substantial. At least you get to the 886 up here. So there you go. 60. 61. I think that's kind of the sleeper, especially with so many big mega tech, mega cap stocks in that index. Obviously, Apple and Microsoft. Yep. Oh, last thing here. Check out the futures chart, Nasdaq futures on the 4 hour time frame. This is the other. Before I hop over to crypto and a couple other things here. Um, this I started with this today, and I just kind of want to update. Looks like it's going to pop off of here. 15,262. Not only that, but look, we did hit target two. That is so critical. Also, when we started today's session, we jumped into the new 4 hour candle. So this is pivotal. I do want to highlight one other thing before I go to crypto. In terms of other vehicles, like how could I play this? Let's say this falls apart in the next few weeks, goes to the full type 1 targets. Check out the SQQQ. I forget who pointed this in my direction, but pretty interesting, right? Software's kicking out a butterfly, but not only a butterfly with perfect confirmation that literally just confirmed the weekly chart on Friday. So plenty of time here. I mean, don't rush in and go jump there, but if we are, merely started here this week, then go for it. Go to the the daily here, daily as well. So daily 2 days ago on Friday, confirmed that crab. Haven't seen anything like that really since this little bat pattern. At least it was a little bit of a bump, but probably a more significant situation here that confirms the other patterns. That too could go into a type 1 or at least even be a short term reaction off the zone. Just keep an eye on it. Literally in the last 48 hours, it became something. A couple of more. Uh, John Dwight, what's going on? He's asking, can I recommend beginner intermediate books to complement Harmonic Trader books? I think the 4 books that are on there, if you've seen those 4 books, check those out. Outside of my material, complementary like Elliott wave style measurements. Check out Bob Miner, dynamic trading. He's pretty good. He's really good. But I think it's most of what we're doing is to get with the software and look at the videos, look at the stuff that we have on that website. Yeah, if you don't have it, folks, go over to, here's my segue, but um, yeah, go to over to harmonictrader.com and get with basic membership, and then everything you need to know is on the basic member page. The software that I, tell everybody every time is the TradingView program, and send your username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. But the resources to go through volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, probably volume 3's got everything that you need, and then reference material 1 and 2. Check the videos, cheat sheets. So again, outside of my material, I don't know harmonic pattern stuff. It's like because I really essentially created all of it um, outside of this page, there's really not much I can recommend. So if you have questions, get on the Discord, and there's even more material over there. But appreciate the question. And again, that option seminar that we had on last week on Friday uh, was well attended. I think it really kind of highlighted some of the opportunities longer term. And we'll, do something like that again, probably September. Hey, Cactus Leo, he says read Mark Douglas's book over and over again. I agree. I agree. So let's take a look at that. I'm not, I'm anything that I'm here looking at Apple or whatever. Treat that as kind of just temporary within this type 1 daily. Sitting right at the hop level. Look at that. But that's about it. Anything that's any bounce within here, I would continue to look to uh, have those things roll over. Really quick, let's look at gold one more time, because I think gold's going to set up for the opportunity on this next one down. That printing some patterns here, 1950 or so. I mentioned this on the weekly for gold. You would think if things are going to get a little hairy or have some kind of pullback, there would be opportunity in gold, and not not really. The pattern's not lining up. So just wanted to show this longer term that a bunch of these scenarios, just in the last few weeks, have retested and rejected major longer term levels. And I think that's something to look at in gold, where if this continues lower, it's going to do the opposite of what you would think during this time. Pretty interesting, though. The other thing, interest rates, kind of all related. Check out these long term charts. Okay, weekly dots generated. Here we go. And we know there's a bunch of measurements up here. I mean, I'm not even going to redo the measurements. We just, and I've been talking about this for a while, these highs are big structural level. It's a big 1618 there, a couple of daily patterns. But last week, okay, we put in some yellow dots, bearish confirmation dots. So again, another extremely new development, and you have this daily bearish bat pattern. Pretty interesting in the face of a lot of things being publicized recently. So that's up around 4.9, not able to get above 5% on the 2-year. Those are important. That stuff, literally a couple of things in the last like 2 days just have kind of triggered off here that you want to pay attention to. Daily on the 10-year, same deal. So this last run up here, okay, to retest the resistance is failing. And on the 10-year, if we get a bearish candle, dot goes in. So just be aware of that. This is a critical, important inflection point right here this week, next week. I think a couple of them did trigger on Friday. A few more do it this week, then you're going to look for that change. Let's do a quick rundown of crypto, and then I'm going to get out of here quick early today on a Tuesday, excuse me. Know where my head is. The top 5 still remain. Bitcoin, little popping up today. Interesting. Are we having a pump stream? Is that what's going on here? Look out. It's up $100. Bitcoin's still 28.3 for me, folks. Even though if it even if it goes from here, it's still about 28.3. So okay, little pop. Number two, XRP. How about that? That's the new number two because it's so much about that type 2 retest. Is that going to do it or not? We're going to do the full type 2 on the weekly or some kind of dramatic move back down to the trend line. At least I would want to see an oversold trigger and there's nothing generating. But that'll be our number two. And this reminds me of so many type 1 reactions that we saw in coins that looked like they were going to go to the moon. And they were just simple type 1s and came all the way right back down. Number three, Ethereum. Don't have to spend more than 2 seconds. So 1800. I would like this to go sideways and then generate an oversold, like a high level oversold trigger with HSI coming down. I mean, that would be, where in a very short term move, it goes to 1700 or 1750 and then triggers something. But until that happens, I'm fine with just letting it be. Wait on it. Again, acceleration mode isn't until well above 2000. Number four. We can change it up, but I think number four should be Doge because it shows us what happens when you just go right back down. Now, Doge, 7 cents, maybe 6.5 cents is where this is like a 2 of 2 move coming up, and I'll stick to that. I think 6.5 eventually, but you're at a target one around 7.2. But if Doge is going to ever be something, it's after some more retests weekly. If this is going to get speculative at all, I think that's the way to look at it. But there are signals here. This is the other reason. There's weekly signals. Weekly yellow dot, oversold dot, oversold dot. First one in a year. So, okay. I don't want to ignore that kind of stuff. Number five, like I said, could be anything. But let's make it Bitcoin Cash because, that's another one where it's a do or die situation, and it did hold 220. Now, Bitcoin Cash could be more about like this butterfly. There's a few things there on the weekly, longer term. Another reason why it really should hold 220 or 200. We talked about this last week where that if it doesn't hold this 220, then as we've seen time and time again with crypto, it'll come all the way back down, retest the shark. Why not? So no reason to jump on anything. That's one we've been monitoring. Is crypto going to start doing something crazy or no? No, not yet. No follow through. Give some kind of other pattern now before that's really worth anything. All right, a few individuals, guys, because I do want to get out of here. But here's one that I mentioned recent weeks and then pulled it back and said, look for the retest. Well, there it is, retested 20, and Fetch AI just generated another HSI trigger. So, okay, I'm going to watch that a little more closely now. Where the first little reaction, that's all it was. But nice pattern, I mean, that's definitely a nice pattern. Speaking of another nice pattern, example of a pop and roll, this was one of our crypto that actually worked. I haven't posted too many crypto, kind of a handful, but not crazy amounts this year. And this one was a really beautiful Type 2 that did work on stellar lumens off the Type 2, but no follow through after the massive move. This could go higher, longer. Look, there's other patterns down here. Take a look. There is a bigger crab down here. So, um, I'm still going to pay attention because I think there's more opportunity. But the first reaction on that is classic Type 1 kind of thrust. Now let's see if it comes all the way back for the retest. And certainly want to see some bullish dots down here. Yeah, I can look at stacks, STX. It's probably like a lot of them where they did the thrust and come back. There you go. I thought so. This one, wasn't this one? Should have something here. Not sure why I don't have the patterns. Clearly there's, let me take a quick look. Make sure I've got everything selected. Huh. No. But just retesting, the support from earlier this year. Just another pop and roll. Not a heck of a lot going on with any of the crypto. I mean, it really is surprising. Solana, I think, is surprising because it's holding up around 20. But again, in a quick drawdown, I think 15. Like if you want to take a shot at Solana, and this is another example of waiting on the crypto, it's at 15. It's not 24 where it is now. Structurally, it's back at 15. Let's see if that comes true. It's still challenging, folks, to wait this out on crypto. It certainly is. It kind of seems like it's lacking development. I thought we'd see a little bit more than we're getting at the moment. Someone asked for Zcash, and that's another one where just sitting in the zone. I like it. I think you got even check back here at 28, 29. But that's going to take some time to get to the right of the downtrend. Cardano, folks. So that really should have been the top 5. On some data feeds yesterday, we got almost to 28 cents. The exact number is 28.26 cents. And we generated an HSI. So that's another big development. That's like in the last 24-hour kind of a thing. I'm looking at that. Looking at that big time. That's something really new. And again, 28 cents has been what we've been targeting all along for like a secondary retest to initiate potentially a larger kind of confirmed move. We've already retested the low. We have to hold the low, but now you have like that secondary confirmation. That has to hold. And that's last 24 hours. I told you guys about Bitcoin Cash. And I would still keep a close eye on it. Interesting. Bitcoin's almost at 30,000 again. Not bad. Yeah, there's Compound. Listen, Compound's another one. Is that a pop and roll? Could be. That can't really break under 50 bucks. If it does, it might as well be 25 because it's crypto. So again, I think anything APV saying DeFi kicks off in August, I think anything that's going to kick off, it's going to have to be, you're going to have a sell-off event to generate crazy low opportunities. I think that's, with some of these like type twos. And it can be just that simple. Looking for type two retests, like Cardano, perfect example. Yeah, a few of them did run. Maker, yeah, Carthago saying Maker ran up earlier. A few of them did run. And BAT, Brave, attention token, is a distressed asset. Yeah, there's a whole class of those. It's probably, in fact, you could say more than half of crypto is a distressed asset. And BAT's probably the better of the two. Look, it's a type 2 off the hop at 17.6. That's Brave, basic attention token. Should go to a type 2, but, you know, 3 cents, 4 cents. Okay, not bad since June. At least that's a clear type 2. But that's about all you really could expect within that range. Like if you got up to target 2 at 27 from these levels here, that's maximum objective. But it's a nice pattern. And you're what are you doing? You're trading penny stocks mostly. When you think about it, you come down to this. You're trading liquid penny stocks. Yeah, listen. John's saying there's China data tomorrow. Look, I think there's probably get a whole bunch of announcements to come up here in the next month or so. I think the narrative is completely backwards to really what's happening. And I don't think we need to kind of go any further than say, general market, major market is in a pause. It's in a pause. And so until we get some clear triggers of that to change or a bullish setup, we'll continue to play that. I mean, minimum targets, even just to get back into the zone, is 363. You're cracking 370 now on the Qs, and look. Principally, what everyone's trying to do is they're trying to define levels, to define direction. And even last time when we talked about getting the yellow dot and getting some very clear confirmation signals now that this would trigger an automatic retracement of the last 10 months. And that's where we're at. I mean, it'll cut, it'll give back some, some of the gains, but you've run up a huge amount. Here's Palantir. I want to highlight this because we said look at this thing to go back retest some patterns we had on the hourly it was down here at 16 bucks. There you go. We said that last time. That deep crab at 1607. So here's another example of a high flyer. I mean, this one went up to 20, which we talked about for a while. It's backed off, but okay, trading it, looking for individual opportunities like that. Give me a yellow dot on that. Maybe in a couple of more hours or into tomorrow, but that's a nice type 2 retest example of something where it's not like there's not opportunities out here. It's just we got to recognize about 10 days ago we stepped into a different climate than we've been in all year. And as for crypto, it's going to be a nothing burger for a while until Bitcoin decides to really pop off and do something. I don't even think, I think Bitcoin's going to have to lead this whole thing out to attract more interest than what's going on now. Nothing happening. And really quick, let's go to finish up on some of those stocks because a lot of them did the pullbacks. Riot, okay, hourly on the daily came back, hitting some oversold triggers here. Where is this a potential continuation within the uptrend? Possibly. A few others. The other one I talked about a lot was Clean Spark. back to 536. So there we are now. Let's look at these. I mean, that's a ideal type 1 reaction, folks. And we've been talking about clean spark to do that move, kind of alleviate the overbought pressure, if you will. Come back to 536 here minimum. Now give me an oversold trigger, which you're about to do, but on the daily. So I think sometimes the only difficulty is to kind of be able to have the patience to hang through what the market needs to do over the course of many, many days, if not weeks. And you're waiting and waiting. You want it to happen yesterday, and it's going to take till next week. That's what these are doing. I mean, Bit Digital, same deal. You know, still holding up there. Wasn't it a 4-hour? Yeah, it was a crab pattern, but down at target 1. So we could go back, retest the zone up to 450, certainly above $4. But a bunch of those have set up, and overstock is still one. I think this is just a sleeper that I'm looking. Give me a pattern. We had a 5-minute pattern on, I was saying this last week. Where was that? A crab pattern down there. There's confirmation. So almost ready to take a shot on that for the first time in weeks. But, you know, big thrust to 40, couldn't get through. Back to 30. Let's go. One or two more. Okay. William wants to look at Under Armour. That hasn't done anything, and I'll show it because low floater just sitting up here. Yeah. Hasn't done much down here. Again, I think it's. Has there been even a 3-bar breakout here on Under Armour? You need something to get that going. I mean, there's a few of those that are really nice patterns. I showed a bunch last time. Things that were setting up or coming into retest, but they still need time and need to at least trigger some kind of 3-bar breakout. Here's Advanced Auto Parts, and I said this last time where come back, retest 65, 66 with 3-4 patterns going back 10 years, something like that. You know, those kind of patterns are great, but you need a few things to get it going, and that's the problem with a lot of those low floaters. I like them, but just know they're going to take time. One or two more. Here's something I'm going to kind of like toot my horn here on Amgen. So Amgen's been one of our 3 ideas. I know I've mentioned this before. You can even see my arrows here. Beautiful type 2. And that's really what type 2s are all about. We talked about Amgen. We nailed it right around 212. It was certainly under 220. Now up, hit target to 264.22, almost exactly. Just amazing. So believe it or not, look, if that doesn't follow through next week, next week, then it's done. I'm watching this. It's super strong because you look at amplified RSI. That's what it should do if it's going to be a really strong move. Amplified should just blow out all prior peaks. So let's see what happens on Amgen if that becomes something bigger. I mean, a few of these have been remarkable. Eli Lilly is just a monster. I mean, look at that. And I bring that up because look, there's the chart. There's the crab pattern from back in March. The type 2 we talked about at 318. Now it's 518. So, you know, I think these are moving. I mean, these are amazing, and the biotech and these big biotech, Here's Merck. It's probably going to be a new 3 ideas for my folks because we're down here oversold on the daily, high level continuation, even the weekly stuff. So there are a lot of interesting opportunities. Just because the market's doing a type 1 pause, if you will, doesn't mean we don't have opportunities. If anything, it's the time to line up the bigger stuff so that when we get there, because it'll hit and pivot back. John's asking about Tilray and Sandal, cannabis sector. I'm not really a fan. I think they destroyed the industry, quite frankly. I really think there's the chart on Tilray. I think some people know we caught a big move back in like 2020. And then I tried to get back in at 2021, back down here, and took a bit of a hit, thinking that would be the start of something. But they destroyed the industry. So I'm not really a fan. If you want to trade that on high volume days, so be it. But I don't. I think there's a lot of better other places to be than that. And you're even like 5-minute patterns here. It could pop. I kind of threw in the towel on those about at least a year and a half ago. Yeah. All right, folks, that's what I have for today. I appreciate it. We'll be back on Thursday. Hang tough as we go through this pause, and then certainly get with all of our materials over here. And again, I did want to show this for the options is on the eSignal page. Everything's on the basic member page. Any questions, get to me on the Discord. All right, have a great one. We'll see you on Thursday. Take care. Go get them.